There is a belief living inside you right now, a belief about money, about how much you are allowed to have, about whether wealth is something that belongs to people like you. You did not choose this belief. You did not sit down one day and decide to think this way. It was given to you before you were old enough to question it, by people who loved you and who were afraid. My name is Frank Malone, and today I want to talk about the most invisible tax ever placed on a human being, the one your parents paid and passed on to you, without either of you knowing it happened. When I was 7 years old, I heard my mother say something I would not understand for 30 years. She was on the phone with someone, a bill collector probably, and after she hung up, she said quietly, almost to herself, "We are not the kind of people who have money." 7 words, said once, to no one in particular. I heard them anyway. And somewhere in my brain, in the part that records everything before the rational mind can filter it, those words became a fact. Not a belief, a fact. We are not the kind of people who have money. Here's what the science tells us about how beliefs form in children. Before the age of 7, the human brain operates primarily in a state called theta brainwave activity. This is the same state adults enter during deep hypnosis. In this state, the brain absorbs information without filtering it, without questioning it, without evaluating whether it is true. Everything goes in directly, like writing on a blank page. The beliefs formed in this window become the operating system you run for the rest of your life, unless you deliberately rewrite them. And most men never do, because most men do not even know the program is running. Your parents were not trying to infect you. That word is important, infect, because that is what happens with fear. It spreads, not through cruelty, not through neglect, through proximity. A child watches his father's face when the bills arrive. He does not understand the numbers, but he understands the face, the tension in the jaw, the silence at dinner, the way his mother stops talking when money is mentioned. The child does not learn that money is dangerous. He feels it in his body before he has words for it. And feelings that form before words are the hardest beliefs to ever change, because you cannot argue with something you do not know is there. There are 4 phrases I have heard from almost every man who has struggled financially as an adult. 4 phrases that were almost never said to them directly, but that they absorbed anyway, from the air in the house where they grew up. The first phrase is, "Money does not grow on trees." This seems harmless. It is not harmless. What this phrase teaches a child is that money is scarce, that it requires enormous effort to obtain, that there is never enough, and that wanting more is somehow greedy or naive. The child grows up, he earns money, and some part of him always feels like he is about to run out, even when the account says otherwise. The second phrase is, "We cannot afford that." Again, harmless on the surface, sometimes even true in the moment. But repeated enough times, this phrase teaches a child that his desires are a burden, that wanting things creates problems, that it is safer not to want. The man who heard this phrase 1,000 times does not stop wanting things. He stops believing he deserves them. That is a different problem entirely, and a much more expensive one. The third phrase is, "Rich people are greedy." This one is the most dangerous, because it turns wealth into a moral failure. If the people who have money are bad people, then a good person must not want too much money. This belief operates silently in millions of men who genuinely want to build wealth, but sabotage themselves every time they get close. Not because they are weak, because somewhere inside, they believe that crossing a certain threshold makes them someone they do not want to be. The fourth phrase is never spoken at all. It is the silence around money, the topic that was never discussed, the numbers that were never explained, the future that was never planned out loud. A child raised in financial silence learns that money is shameful, that it is not something you discuss, that it is a private emergency, not a tool you can learn to use. He grows up not knowing how to talk about money, not knowing how to negotiate, not knowing how to ask for what he is worth, because no one ever showed him that those conversations were possible. Now I want to be precise about something. I am not asking you to blame your parents. The people who raised you were operating from their own programming. Their beliefs about money came from their parents, who got them from theirs. This is not a family failing. It is a transmission, passed down through generations like an heirloom nobody wanted but everyone kept. Your grandparents may have lived through a time when scarcity was real, when food was uncertain, when money actually did disappear overnight. Their fear was rational, for their time, for their circumstances. But fear does not check the date before it passes itself on. It just passes, and you inherited a response built for a world that no longer exists. Here is the most important thing I can tell you. The scarcity mindset is not who you are. It is software running on hardware that is fully capable of something different. But software does not update itself. You have to do it deliberately. The first step is the hardest one. You have to become conscious of the moments when the old program activates. The moment you hesitate to negotiate your salary. The moment you feel guilty after a large purchase that was completely within your means. The moment you find a reason not to invest in something that every rational part of you knows is right. Those moments are not character, they are code, old code, written by frightened people who loved you the best they could. The second step is to replace the feeling with a fact, not positive thinking, not affirmations, facts. When the voice says there is not enough, you look at the actual number. You name what is real, not what the fear is telling you. The third step is the one most men skip. You have the conversation with your children, with your partner, with yourself, out loud, about money, about what it is, about what it can do, about what it cannot do. You break the silence that was handed to you so that the transmission stops with your generation. I grew up hearing that we were not the kind of people who have money. I spent 30 years proving that wrong, not to anyone else, to the 7-year-old who was sitting in that kitchen and believed what he heard. The belief was never true. It was just the only thing available at the time. You are not the kind of person who stays broke. That was never a fact. It was always just a feeling. And feelings, unlike facts, can be changed. My name is Frank Malone. The next video covers exactly what happens when you finally stop running on someone else's program. I will see you there.